Mold, grime, and disease are plagues that the human world does its best to keep at bay. But animals have to worry about these things too, even ants. The redwood ant has found a true multi-purpose cleaner that they use to keep pathogens from infecting the colony. Sometimes building your house out of disinfectant is the most efficient method in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on. If you'd like to donate, just visit patreon.com/ldtaxonomy or click on donate on our website.
And today we're talking about something that's sticky. What is it?
Oh, I've been rewatching those movies. Why are there other movies? That's my question.
There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be.
It should be like they should just do this in all genres. If you want different, if you're feeling sci-fi, we just need to watch sci-fi Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're talking about the redwood ant, which is also known as the southern wood ant, or the horse ant. You know, it's just like it's a horse fly, it's a horse ant. Horses have invaded the bug world.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to call it here the Sour Patch Pest. Spray it, don't say it. And the We Were Soldier ants. We Were Soldier ants. I went through my Rolodex, my mental Rolodex of Vietnam War movies, and tried to find one that I could turn into something that had anything to do with ants. And Platoon and Full Metal Jacket just didn't cut the mustard.
Redwood Forrest Gump.
But why Gump?
Forrest Gump. He's in Vietnam.
Oh, that's right. Again, that's a movie that I have not seen all in one go, and I think about almost never, except for when I'm passing bubblegum shrimp.
I think about it like at least once a year, and I've seen it all the way through multiple times.
Yeah, it's not even in my top 5 Tom Hanks movies.
It definitely is. Definitely is. Anyway.
Let's taxonomize this boy. He's in a kingdom you know, love, and are in. That kingdom is Animalia. Tom Hanks also included in that.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hanks is not included in the phylum, which is Arthropoda, unless he decides to voice an ant or bug.
Then he would be included in the phylum.
Then Tom Hanks would be an arthropod. That's what method acting is. It's changing your phylum.
That's what Jeff Goldblum was trying to do.
He what? Oh, yes. I get it. It took me a second to become the fly. Okay, the class is Insecta. Order is Hymenoptera. This is an ant. We've been here before. The family is Formicaceae. The genus is Formica, like your countertops. If you're poor, just kidding. I've got Formica countertops. It'd be nice to have some marble or something, but whatever. It works. It looks nice. The species is Rufa. So the binomial nomenclature is Formica rufa.
A Formica rufa doesn't seem very waterproof.
Oh, I mean the Formica countertops are waterproof.
But if you get in the side of the seams, it's not good.
Yeah. You got to make sure those seams are seamed up.
Mm-hmm.
As seamed up as they can be. Seamless seamed up seams. So this brings us to the listeners' favorite part of the show. Nitty-gritty nomenclature, the part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that is, what is the English translation for the binomial nomenclature, which we've just established is Formica rufa. What does that mean in English? Does that mean A, red ant, B, large ant, C, acid burrower, or D, colonizing insect?
Acid burrower, final answer.
That is incorrect. It is red ant.
Red Ant of Courage would have also been pretty good. It's not Vietnam. It's the Civil War, but it's close.
Red Ant of Courage. Formica is a word for ant. And rufa, just like Rufus, like the Rufus hummingbird, it refers to its red coloration.
Hmm.
So yeah, it means red ant. I thought for sure you were going to get it because of the Rufus hummingbird episode. That
if I thought about it for like 2 seconds instead of one, maybe I would have gotten it.
So I got to get you to make a decision in 1 second.
And my desire to not have dead air that I have to edit out, it really does make me want to answer quickly.
Just put in a bunch of like uhs, and then
yeah, people love listening to that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about what this boy looks like. It's an ant. It looks just like an ant.
It does.
It is about. Yep. It's about the size of a grain of rice, but with more attitude. It has a red head and a red thorax, but the abdomen, the big bulbous part of the back of an ant, is black. This striking coloration is a pretty common thing in nature to warn other animals to not touch. So bright red and black, the contrast is difficult to miss. They are covered in tiny chitinous hairs. They have 6 legs, like all insects do. They have large antennae that are constantly twitching and part of their chemoreceptor system, so that because a lot of their navigation has to do with picking up chemicals rather than by sight or sound. They have powerful mandibles that are good for picking up things, biting through things, and not very good at fighting scorpions in Rick Moranis' backyard. And I'm going to leave it at that. If you're picturing a red ant, like the ones that would bite you here in North America, if this is where you live, then you're not that far off.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely don't want these guys climbing on you. So, I said they're about the size of a grain of rice. How many grains of rice are they?
Well, welcome to the Blood Measure Up segment, the official listeners part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week. We did get some comments on the Spotify. 2 comments
nice.
on the Peacock Flounder episode. Pipe Morgan says that she's a pescatarian, but she'll eat a moose whenever she can get at it.
I love that attitude.
I'll eat moose when I can get it.
I've had a moose burger in Minnesota.
Is it good?
Is
it good enough to forsake your vows?
When you put your pescatarian vows, when you put something into a burger and put like cheese and lettuce and tomato and sauce and stuff on it, it all kinds of blends together. I've had crocodile burger, alpaca burger, moose burger, buffalo burger, and I couldn't tell you what the difference is, except for ostrich. That's a unique flavor.
She also wrote on the capybara episode that her dog does indeed love rabbit. And in that she wants to eat them. Also,
this is sounding less and less pescatarian.
I mean, the dog's not pescatarian. She also says
the dog is Episcopalian.
The dog will bark off duty. Otherwise, she's got a coat or vest and she's quiet. When that vest goes on, the workday's begun. So the tomfoolery's over. We got the vest on. No barking. Barking is serious times.
Business in the front and business in the back.
That's just when the suit goes on. When I'm in the suit, it's who's the real dog? The one in the suit or the one in the one outside the suit? It's Batman. Batman's the real dog.
Batman is the dog.
But we don't have a new measure of intro. That means we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
General, I know there's been a glitch or two, but everybody is working full tilt as it is, and
You can't help it. It's your nature. But in spite of your limitations, you are going to finish this tunnel.
Who's that? Do you know who they are?
Is that ants?
It's ants. They are ants.
Is it the movie Ants?
It is the movie Ants. Do you know their names?
No. I think we mentioned it before. The only time I've ever seen this movie, I got to the point where one of the ants' head falls off. I think it's Sylvester Stallone's character.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like 6. And that was so traumatizing that we left the theater.
I thought it was funny.
I did not. That and also the bad guy, the evil warlock in Anastasia, his head goes into like his chest cavity at one point. And for beheadings, even when it's not fatal, were just not okay with me as a young child. So those two movies I have never seen all the way through because I stopped as soon as someone lost their head. Because then I lost my head.
That's Colonel Cutter and General Mandible in the movie Ants.
Yeah, no. I know that was one of those like early attempts to take a not that great animated movie and just fill it with stars to market it. It's like, It's not that great of a movie, but like, look at all these people you like that are going to be voicing the characters.
Yeah.
And then that ended up being a whole business model.
For a long time. Still is. And that's why we don't have good singing in Disney musicals anymore.
That's why we have trolls.
Let's talk about the length of a worker ant. They're 4 to 9 millimeters, or 0.16 to 0.35 inches in length. Is that the same as 11,835 go into the tallest redwood, which is Hyperion? We've done this before, but I had to. Redwood. B, 3.2 go into a candy corn, a single candy corn. Or C, 85 go into a lady in red fern.
Candy corn, final answer.
The correct answer is C, 85 go into a lady in red fern. Guess what
is
color
a candy corn not an
red
inch?
Fern? Yes, it is an inch, but it's like not 3.2. It's like
3.5. If it was 3.3, then it was, oh goodness, I was what 0.06 inches off.
A lady in red fern is green.
When you were doing this the measure up like voice like hear from an animal thing, I thought you were gonna pick the ant bully, because Nicolas Cage voices an ant in that movie.
Oh, that'll be the next ant.
Well, then I'll guess it.
Let's talk about the length of a queen in more ways than one. 9 to 12 millimeters, or 0.35 to 0.47 inches. A, do 150 go into the height of Mary, Queen of Scots? B, do 180 go into the height of Queen Elizabeth? Or
The first?
no, the most recent, the most recent Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
Or C, 165 go into Queen Victoria, her height. She could probably eat way more than 165.
She probably did.
Although she was probably wearing a corset in the Victorian era.
So Mary, Queen of Scots, Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah, I don't think we have height on.
I have
first.
no idea how tall any of these three women were. So we're going to go with the one whose era I am the most fan of, Queen Victoria.
Final answer.
Yes.
Correct answer was Mary, Queen of Scots, 150.
No.
She's the tallest queen, or she's tied for the tallest queen in English history. Actually, we don't know that.
Interesting. King
Just
Henry
in
the
recorded.
Eighth made sure that the queens were at least a head shorter.
A lot of decapitation in this episode.
Yeah, that one I would not have been okay with, and I would not have been okay with a King Henry the Eighth movie. In
Neither was the
when I
church.
6.
Funny enough. And that's
True,
why
true.
we have Anglicans.
Anglicans. See, like Pipe Morgan's dog is not a pescatarian, but maybe it's an Anglican.
If it's decapitating rabbits.
That is one of the
Marks of-
primary
yeah.
marks of Anglicanism is decapitation.
It's in their confession of faith if they have one.
I remember our church used to have an Anglican church that met right before us, and man, the cleanup that we had to do before we could start, all the blood off the walls, man, it was rough.
But that's all I got for that. Do you have any fast facts before we get into the major fact?
Yeah, so the redwood ant is found across Europe and in parts of Asia. It loves forests, especially rotting vegetation, rotting logs. They like a rustic woodland aesthetic. They are omnivorous. They eat dead insects, honeydew from aphids, and then also they are all where people live. So they eat what humans drop. Winged males and females take part in a large airborne speed dating event called the nuptial flight. And these males die afterwards. So love is pain. At least if you're an ant. They live in massive colonies, like most ants do, with a very strict caste system. Everyone has their role, and they're born into it, and they die into it. You got to do
into
what
it. That's crazy.
You got to do. Yeah, you die into your role. You didn't have the role, and then you died, and now you have the role, which is, being an ant husk
Posthumously.
that's eaten by everybody else. They have to. Ants have a myriad of predators, including birds, bears, rodents, larger birds, bears, and automobiles. They live for a few months if they're a worker, but a queen can live for 15 years. An insect that lives for 15 years. Of course she can. She's the queen. And one of this is one of the species of ants that likes to farm aphids, or I guess herd aphids. These are like little six-legged caterpillar bug things, and they stroke them so that they produce honeydew, and the ants like to eat the honeydew. So they're nature's smallest farmers. Go check out our, I want to say leafcutter ant episode on the relationship between certain ant species and aphids. And I will leave it at that.
I think they farmed fungus.
Did they farm the fungus
aphids?
to feed the aphids?
I don't know. Maybe we got to listen to that episode again.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Well, let's talk about the major fact. Formic acid. Ants have formic acid. I guess that means antacid. Formic acid is a naturally occurring substance that is found in many plants and animals, including ants. Apparently, things that are not ants have antacid. Because if formic means ant,
there's a little antacid in all of us. Everyone has antacid and light within them. Yeah.
Well, chemically, it's known as methanoic acid, mesothelioma. In ants, formic acid is produced in their venom glands and is used as a defense mechanism against predators and pathogens. In the formic acid defense mechanism in redwood ants works through a specialized gland that's located on the tip of their abdomen called the acidopore. It's a pore with acid in it.
that is a good name.
So when threatened, the ant will lift its abdomen and aim it toward the threat. The acidopore, which can be opened like a nozzle, sprays or squirts formic acid out. The action can be extremely accurate, allowing the ant to target predators or perceived threats effectively.
How far?
I don't know.
Do this?
Probably pretty close. Probably not quite. I don't know. Not quite an inch, probably.
You're just walking under a tree and get just rained down acid. It's acid rain, but it's just a bunch of ants above you.
You can get spicy. Formic acid serves as a deterrent because it's an irritant for most things, and it can cause discomfort, pain, and especially if it contacts the skin, eyes, or mucous membranes of predators or even humans, making the ant less appealing to eat or disturb. If you eat it, it's spicy.
Yeah, it's a little taste like, hey, this is what I'm made of. You want more?
You want more? Eat 10,000 more of my kin, and you'll really have an upset stomach.
Yeah.
So beyond
free sample.
Beyond defense, formic acid can also play a role in communication with the colony. For example, it might mark trails or signal alarms. We've heard of like chemical trails in ants, and that it not only can you spray acid in someone's face, you can also leave it for a little message for someone, a little Valentine's Day card or something. When sprayed, the acid also affects the environment around it, potentially warning others or other insects or altering the local chemistry temporarily to determine predators or deter predators or competitors. So it's if you don't want to spray someone in the face, you can just spray on the ground, and people. Other insects and ants will know it's your territory. But here's the weird part. It has antimicrobial properties in combination with plant resin. So wood ants use resin from coniferous trees in their nests for multiple purposes, because resin is like, it's sticky and it's good for building. It's adhesive. But the resin offers structural soundness, defense, and in and of itself, or when it's mixed with the ant's formic acid, not in and of itself, it has antimicrobial properties. It maintains the health of the colony and by reducing microbial growth and pathogens. It also adds waterproofing and weather sealing to ant nests, and acts as a barrier to intruders, predators, It's basically like if instead of cement you used spicy bleach. Spicy bleach glue that
Spicy bleach glue. I like it.
kept your house together, was deterring to predators, and sealed your house against the weather.
And you can spread it over chicken sandwiches, and it spices up your meal.
Yeah. Spicy
That's
bleach
how
glue.
that's how Chick-fil-A made the spicy chicken sandwich, was just dipping it in spicy bleach glue.
Yeah, all it is resin and formic acid. But yeah, that's it. They make a putty out of their own spicy spray and
Secretions.
secretions. It's a good thing it doesn't bother them. It would be a terrible place to live.
Well, I mean, bees make a putty out of their secretions.
But their secretions aren't spicy.
Spicy.
No.
They're not supposed to be a deterrent for predators.
In fact,
Ended up being
some
the
of their
opposite.
secretions are the opposite of a deterrent for predators.
Right, yeah. But they're still little chemists
Yeah, they also have stings
with their bodily fluids.
Yeah. First they're salty, then they're sweet. First they're sour, then they're sweet.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I call them the Sour Patch Pest.
But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, yeah, that's all I have.
Coming in a little light somehow. Should we go through some?
Should we banter?
We could talk about how one time Gray Hughes left a comment on the Talkin' episode, and he said, "Whenever I hear talkies, I think of that Justin Bieber song where he asks a girl if he can talkie to her later, and she turns him down, as she should."
Talkie?
Yeah,
Is that it's in the song?
I guess I've never heard a Justin Bieber song.
I've heard the Baby song.
That's true. I've probably heard many Justin Bieber songs, but I don't know that one.
Yeah, and now that he's older, they all sound like normal pop songs. So to me, it's indistinguishable from everything else that's out there. So, but yeah, talkie sounds like something an Australian person would call like the news or something like that. Like, I'm gonna go watch the talkies.
I'm pretty sure that Americans called movies with sound when
Talkies.
they first came out. Yeah.
But it sounds like something that Australians would say today.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go make brekkie. And
we
then go
called two-way
and watch
radios
the talkie.
walkie-talkies. That's pretty Australian of us.
Yeah, it is. The more of Bluey I watch, the more of these, like, just put your swimmies on if you go to the beach. This kind of stuff, and it's endearing. It makes me want to visit even more.
Really?
If that was even possible.
I've heard that is one of the most grueling flights to go to Australia.
Yeah, it's probably not that great of a flight, but once you get there, everything makes it out to be this, like, utopian. The entire island is a utopian beach town. It's like America on the beach,
Except
and
for all
everyone
the
has an
middle
Australian
bits.
accent, and everyone's laid back. No worries, mate.
And you can't go in the water because
you can't go on land because it's full of things that'll kill you, and well, then also the water is full of things that'll kill you too. Although I do want to dive the Barrier Reef. That would be great if I survived.
Yeah. Can you?
Survive?
No, go. Yeah, do people do that all the time?
Oh yeah. It's the Barrier Reef is a huge scuba attraction, and it's not like everyone like, oh well, we do bring a lot of tourists down here. 1 in every 3 of them is eaten by a great white shark, and then the other 2 are killed by box jellyfish. But no, but the box jellyfish lives on the other side of the island, so we don't have to worry about them. That's on the Gold Coast. Great Barrier Reef is up near Brisbane, so we're good. Just great white sharks over there. Don't worry about it. And sea kraits, super venomous sea kraits, and other kinds of jellyfish, and that the stonefish that if you step on them, they'll just impale you with enough opioids to immediately end your life. Like the conch snail that'll do the same thing.
Yep.
Nothing to worry about. Just enjoy the colors.
Maybe the Outback isn't so bad.
Outback is delicious. I love their pumpernickel bread and the bloomin' onion.
Bloomin' onion is good. It's so bad for you. Why should it be? It's vegetables.
It is vegetables. It's huge vegetable. All right, we've hit 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're out there in Podcastia, take a nuptial flight, farm your aphids, and spray your tummy toxins all over your enemies like the redwood ants here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Tummy toxins. That sounds like when you need an antacid.